Oh.
Got me. John Deere's working hard.
Welcome to today's episode of Battery Boys. I'm your host, Kilowatt Kyle, and you might even see Wyatt Watts running around in the background. Today, we are working on our totaled CyberTruck. As you guys know, we recently picked this thing up. A subscriber reached out. His grandfather got in an accident, got T-boned by a Ford Edge, and we were fortunate enough to get this thing. We are in a really cool and unique opportunity to be working on one of the first Cybertrucks in this kind of condition. So we got the Cybertruck back in the shop here, and we're going to do a quick but brief damage assessment. So if you guys take a look over here, obviously the doors got hit pretty hard. They got caved in pretty good right here. If you look right here, this blue smudge is actually from the Ford emblem from the Ford Edge, and then we also have the license plate frame right under that guy, right where she hit into the side of the Cybertruck. A lot of people were wondering how bad the damage protruded into the cab of the truck, and it looks like it did a pretty good job containing that impact because the metal structure on the inside of the door looks to be untouched, even though this door card did get separated pretty bad right here. We do have a little bit of damage down in here, maybe got pushed into the seat a bit, but overall did a good job absorbing that impact. You can see that there is some damage to the B-pillar in this lower structure right here. A lot of this sheet metal got a little tore up, a lot of these spot welds popped, and up here as well some of those guys popped out of place. But if you stand back and look at the B-pillar, it's pretty much in the position it needs to be. It didn't get caved in too bad. You can see this hinge mount for the back door is a little tweaked, but the one up here looks to be in good shape. It looks like this could be pulled back into position and you could get the doors lined up pretty good. This front door hinge is also a little tweaked right there as well, but overall she took that hit pretty good, nothing too crazy. Same story with the back door, got hit about the same as the front. The door card is missing from this back door though. You can see a lot of this plastic that got busted up, and you can see some of the modules that are inside of that guy. I mean, if you look at the bottom though, that's where it really did protrude. Look at that. So down close to the bottom of the door, that did stick in pretty good, but up here everything looks pretty good. And I do actually have a brief shot of the Ford Edge coming into this thing. This had the USB plugged into it with the cameras recording, and I have about maybe 10 seconds worth of footage of the Ford Edge coming into the side of the Cybertruck, and right as it hits the side of the truck, the video cuts out. I'm assuming from the force of the impact, but I do have that. So that's pretty cool, and I'll overlay it as I talk. If you take a look at the inside, the driver's seat has the airbags blown out of that guy. You can see all the interior that is missing. This was at the Tesla Collision Center, and they removed a lot of the interior out of this thing, and whatever they didn't keep in the cab of the truck, they threw in the bed back here, and it was covered up with the tonneau cover. We got the jump box hooked up. We pulled that guy out of the way. You can see we have a lot of the interior bits. We have some other airbags that blew in the back here, and we have the passenger seat out of this thing with another airbag that popped. We have the center console that was unplugged, and yeah, lots of stuff that we're gonna have to put back together. But in today's video, we're not gonna worry about too much about the interior and the cosmetics of the truck. We wanna try to get this thing back up and driving again. And to do that, we are going to start by replacing the pyro fuses in the Cybertruck. We booted this thing up, we went into service mode, we looked at the high voltage system, and the pyro fuses had red lights next to them indicating that they were bad. When these Teslas get into a severe accident enough to blow the airbags or even lock up the charges in the seatbelts, the pyro fuses will blow for safety reasons, and that kills all power to the high voltage battery, and the vehicle will no longer be able to move. We have one right here from the Model X. The Cybertruck has some very similar pyro fuses, and we are going to be replacing those guys. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing up onto the lift and get to replacing the pyros. This will definitely be the heaviest vehicle we've had on the new bed pack lift here, so hopefully we did a good job installing it. Dude, look how much travel it has. That's kind of crazy. It's still going. That is a big vehicle. All right, we got the Cybertruck on the lift here. Before we go up in the air with it and try to do this pyro fuse job, we got the pyro fuses right here, first of all. So the Cybertruck takes 2 pyro fuses instead of just one like the Model S and X do. At first glance, these look identical, and I'm guessing you could put a Model X or S Pyro into CyberTruck, but when we ordered these, they do have a different part number. So there is a possibility that they're different. I cannot confirm or deny that, but we ordered what should be the right Pyros, and we have 2 of them for the CyberTruck since it does take 2. Not sure if both are blown, but we're probably just gonna replace both because I'm assuming both of them are blown. But we went ahead and got the front plastic taken out of the front there, and we have access to everything behind it. And what we went ahead and did is we got all of the 48 volt system unplugged here. So this is the 48 volt battery. We got that guy unplugged, and we got this blue plug disconnected right here as well. This ties into the fireman loop, I believe, and disconnects all connection to the 48 volt system. So the CyberTruck is a little different than the Model S and X. Instead of the 16 volt lithium battery, it has a 48 volt lithium battery. So there's a lot more juice and everything, and they actually call it a mid voltage system instead of a low voltage system. So you got the mid voltage system and the high voltage system, and then there also might be some low voltage systems as well. I'm not too sure on that, but now the big switch is over to the 48 volt stuff. So it's a little bit different than the previous models, and I think the CyberTruck is the first to have this 48 volt system on all of the Teslas. So now that we got the mid voltage system disconnected, all that should be good to go, and we're gonna go ahead and put this thing up in the air. And before we go right to getting to the pyro fuses, what we need to do is disable the high voltage system. And it's nice because Tesla actually already has the procedure on their website. It does have a warning right here. It says this procedure is a draft. Although it has been validated, warnings and cautions might be missing. Follow safety requirements and use extreme caution when working on or near high voltage systems and components. I also want to tell anyone that might be watching this video that chooses to work on their Tesla or their CyberTruck, if you come across this and you have a CyberTruck later on in the future, don't follow what we do without doing some of your own independent research, because we are doing the best to our knowledge and following this, but like this procedure says, there might be more safety measures that come out, so we might be missing some stuff. I don't want to be liable for anyone electrocuting themselves. You got to be really careful around this stuff. This is the second Tesla we've worked on, and we will be working around it with extreme caution here, because I believe we will probably be the first people attempting to repair a totaled CyberTruck. I'm not sure if anyone has even replaced a pyro in one of these yet, and I can say most certainly we're the first YouTubers to be doing it. So there might be missing information from what we do here. You guys can watch, but if you make any repairs on your own, please do your own research and don't just take this video as it is. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and lift this thing up in the air. We have a panel underneath that we have to take off, and that will let us have access to the pyro fuse cover and some of the high voltage components we need to double check real quick and go from there. So we'll double check the safety with the high voltage system, and then we can move forward with actually replacing these pyro fuses. Got her up on the lift here, boys. Look at how flat the bottom of this thing is. Nothing under here, nice and flat. And we're gonna start by removing this panel right here. So everything should be underneath that guy. We just got a few 10 millimeters holding this on. Go ahead and zip it apart and see what we got. Really put some Loctite on this. Well, after looking at the picture again, it's actually the tray in the back. So, yeah, it's not this front tray, guys. Back over there. Yeah, it's this panel for sure. All right, so we got the cover off, and we got a lot of high voltage stuff going on here, boys. All this stuff in orange is represented by high voltage. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but a good way to know what systems you're working with is the orange connectors typically are high voltage things, and the blue connectors are typically the mid voltage 48 volt system things. So all this high voltage stuff, you want to be extremely careful when messing with any of this stuff. And I want to give a huge shout out to the guy that sent me a brand new set of these electrical service gloves here. So he actually wrote me a little note. When he sent these, I was like, I'm never gonna use those again. We got the Model X working. I honestly thought that was gonna be the last Tesla I would ever touch in a very long time. after we make version 2 of Platycy, but we ended up getting these gloves, and now we have a CyberTruck, so they came in useful. It says, Kyle, been watching your channel since Wago had a D-Series, OG subscriber. I love the direction that you're going with your channel. Keep it up and keep sending it, from Daniel. So thank you for the gloves. You might have just saved my life today. So before we proceed, we're gonna take our amp meter right here. We got this hook on the top. We're gonna make sure we don't have a ton of amps rolling through these cables right here. We're just following the Tesla manual on how to do this. We wanna see either a half amp or below. If there's anything over that, that means we still have high voltage still coming in from somewhere, and we need to double check everything. We did properly unplug everything, so we should have less than an amp coming through this cable right here. So I got my gloves on, got her set. We're gonna go ahead and check this guy right here. Just like so. I mean, I got nothing going through there, which is a good sign. Go ahead and check the other one. Oh yeah, it said 0.01 for a second and then shut down. So we're just making sure that everything was properly disconnected. All right, so we should be good there. We're less than 0.5 amps. And now we are good to take off this high voltage plug right here is what they call it. So this doesn't have any leads to it, but underneath this guy right here, there are a couple terminals which we can double check there is no high voltage. So it wants us to put a multimeter on it in 3 different variations. It wants us to basically check one pin to ground, the other pin to ground, and then both pins together, and make sure that all of those configurations, you're not seeing any sort of high voltage anywhere before you proceed to actually taking the cover off over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just double check how to take this off, but we gotta go ahead and pop this cap off, and then we will check that with the multimeter. Oh, that's a hard tab to pop. Difficult working in these gloves. I don't know about that one, hold up.
You should grab a metal screwdriver.
I don't want a metal screwdriver anywhere near that thing. There you go. Just like that. Here's the plug. Hook up our multimeter. And we should not see anything over 10 volts anywhere at all. So if we see over 10 volts, stop immediately.
Would you like a plastic zip tie to zip tie it up? Oh yeah, there you go.
All right, 0.7, not even 1 volt. Here, 0.7, 0.6. Here, 0.1. So we should be good. All right, so we got that plug off. We double checked the high voltage system. Everything's good to go. I'm not clear if that plug can go back on or not. I'm gonna leave it disconnected just to make sure there's not something inside that plug that completes a circuit. So we're not gonna mess with that anymore. And now we can go ahead and take this cover off right here. So we already went ahead and removed 3 bolts. We did not have the correct socket. So it turns out these have a somewhat special socket. It's not specific to Tesla. You can order them online, but it's like a 5-star Torx basically. A typical Torx is like a 6-star. This is a 5-point. So we didn't have any sockets here that fit it, so we got a little crude with it, and we just put some vice grips on there. They weren't super tight, so we were able to break them loose with vice grips, and then we just took a 11/32 hex socket. If it's on there just enough to spin it off once it's loose, but it's not strong enough to break it loose. So now I can, well, we got it. Maybe not even that one. So.
It's going.
It barely gets it, like barely. So luckily we were able to get those off. We're a little impatient. And underneath here, check that out. You can see our pyros up under that cover. And it did say to disconnect the air lines on one of the steps, but we were looking at it. I don't think we need to do that. Obviously we got enough room here, so there they are. And just like the Model X, we're just gonna go ahead and zip those suckers out, pop the new ones in, put this all back together, and hopefully we got a moving CyberTruck. Something else I noticed when we were doing this is I was expecting a billet CNC piece maybe underneath this, because when we were following along the procedure here, you can see the cover they have is a full billet aluminum piece. I mean, look at the machining on that. And then we have this piece right here that's more OEM appropriate, cast aluminum with the webbing, things like that. So I'm just guessing or assuming here this might have been like a early version CyberTruck with more like prototype custom parts on it, and then this is production Cybertruck with OEM like cheaper mass manufactured stuff. That's just a guess, but I was really hoping to find a billet CNC cover under there, because I was like, damn, that's sick they're running like parts like that on here. But nope, we just got a regular old aluminum cap. So let's go ahead and get those pyros out. There's one pyro fuse. Number 2. All right, get the new ones in, back together. New pyro going in. Good to go. Now we'll just put everything back together the same way we took it apart. We'll pop that cover back on there, put the plug back on, get the sheet metal cover back over everything, lower this thing down, plug everything back in on the front, and see what it does. Good to go. So we're in the back of the truck here, and we found this plug that's unplugged from this module back here, and I don't know what they were doing or why this is like this, but it's pulled apart and these pins all popped out of the spots they're supposed to be in. So I'm hoping that someone over there just took this apart the wrong way accidentally, and that's the only reason it's like that. But I don't know why this was even unplugged at all. I'm just gonna go ahead and put all those pins back in place where they're supposed to go, and hopefully there's nothing wrong with that. So as you guys saw a little bit ago, we had this plug that was undone and it had pins pulled out of the connector. I went ahead and took it apart and put all the pins back into place where they need to be. There was a rubber grommet in there, kind of like a weatherproof seal, and it had all the holes cut out that correspond to the connector. So the pins and wires were easy to relocate without, you know, mismatching any of those. Since you saw them all sticking out, I was a little worried that we might get one of the pins in the wrong spot, but with that grommet on there, I was pretty confident that we got all of those back in the right position. Put the plug back together. For some reason the plug just wouldn't go back on. It seemed like it was too tight. We looked into it, and it turns out that you actually have to loosen this little bracket right here. So there's this single bolt in the middle, and that has this aluminum frame that goes around all 4 of these plugs, and you have to completely loosen this. Then you can actually clip these plugs on, and then you retighten it all back together, and it sucks the plugs down. So right now it's actually a little loose after plugging everything back in, and you can see as I tighten this down, you'll see the plugs actually suck down into the module. See how they all suck down? So now everything is plugged back in here. My concern is I have no idea why they tried to unplug that. It doesn't look like that needed to be messed with after the accident. It looked like they could have just left it as is. So I'm hoping there's not some underlying problem there, and I'm hoping that it was just maybe an innocent mistake, and the reason it was pulled apart is because maybe they didn't realize that that bolt needs to come undone for these plugs to come off, and they tried to get in there with a flathead or whatever tool, and they tried to pry it apart, and they ended up de-pinning it in the process because maybe they tried to take it apart improperly. I don't know why they even messed with it, but we put it back together, plugged it back in, so hopefully all is good there. Another slight concern is we have this ribbon cable right here. This one is labeled backbone FFC cable. I don't know what she does.
Sounds important.
It says it's the backbone of something. So I would assume this cable is pretty important. There's two ribbon cables here, one on top of the other, and these run the full length of the cab all the way up to that module over there. And when they stuck the doors back here, they were resting on the cable. And you can see right there that there's a little bit of damage. Not sure if it's enough to actually harm anything inside of there, but that's something else we got to take into consideration, that might be faulty right there. So we're just taking a mental note of that, but we got everything plugged back in. We got the pyros changed out. So now we're gonna go ahead and try to plug this thing back in and see what happens. All right, CyberTruck is back on the ground. We're gonna go ahead and plug this stuff back in and see if anything happens. There's a good chance we're gonna have to put the jump box back on there since we found out our 48 volt battery is a little dead, but plug everything in first to see. Just like that. Guess I'll go hit the pedal. Didn't sound like we made any noises though.
Nope.
Yeah, we got nothing. We got no door. It's not even worth it. We got to throw the jump box on.
Typical booster, boys.
Yep. I mean, you guys know us. Dead batteries are just like part of the channel, so having a whole car that runs on nothing but a big battery is probably not the best for us. And here we go. Oh, there's some noises. We got noises. Oh. That's a weird sound. I don't know if we should, oh, it stopped. I don't know what that was.
Oh.
Did I unplug it?
I mean,
I wonder if that's the e-brake. No? I don't like that noise.
see what the screen says. If anything.
It stopped. I don't like that. Hold on, I'm gonna start that. I don't know what that noise was. Yeah, that was a weird noise. I don't know where to go from here. I kind of want to try it one more time and just listen to exactly what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like it's coming from the battery tray.
Think so?
Yep. Yeah, it's much louder under the truck.
Do it one more time and I'm just gonna see, and then I'll tell you to unhook it. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna grab a light. Yeah, I am not liking that. Something's freaking out. All right. Yeah, unplug that. I'm not sure what that is. So we left the tray off just to test everything so you could still see anything under there, but yeah, that's definitely coming from like that area.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have something to do with the fact that the 48 volt system's dead too.
Yep.
Because that could just be a jump box trying to like do something that doesn't have enough power.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I don't like that noise. So we tried to plug the CyberTruck back in after we replaced the pyros. That's all we changed. The truck did come back on, the screen and everything lit back up, but we heard this clicking coming from under the truck. It does sound like it's coming back from that area where we worked near the pyros, and I'm assuming the contactor is back there. The contactor will close to connect the main battery to the rest of the truck so the truck can support itself and not require the jump box. It sounded like it was cycling, and it was just going click, 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 and then it would pause, and it would go click, 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 and pause. At first, I believe what we filmed is the clicks, and it kind of freaked us out, and we unplugged everything, and we're like, we don't know what's going on. I was worried that something was going to explode, but it didn't, so we plugged it back in. We let it do its clicks until it finally stopped, and we're just assuming that we might not have enough juice to get these contactors closed because it is a 48 volt system, and we had a 12 volt jump pack on it, and the jump box was a little on the dead side. So we got that thing charging, but we're gonna try to give it a little more juice here, and we got the MR2's 16 volt battery. This is out of one of our race cars. She's gonna have a lot more juice, and we're going to hook this thing up and see if that contactor clicks shut, and hopefully we don't burn our shop down right now. So everything's back together. We've triple checked that everything should be good, and I think she just needs a little more juice. So we're gonna go ahead and plug this one in and see what happens. you see any smoke, start
Got
yelling.
you.
All right. It's kind of scary. Oh shit.
That wasn't bad.
She's on there. All right, it's on there. She's making her noises. Let's see if that clicking starts again. Come back over here. It's gonna happen soon. Oh. It only went once.
It's good. Lights are on.
It only clicked once. That sounded way better. The screen's not on yet though. Oh, she's beeping. Maybe you want to go around to the other side real quick? Screen's coming on. Nothing's catching on fire with that module, so that's a good sign. Alright, she's on. No more clicks. Alright, let's go to the high voltage battery. Oh, everything's green. We are looking good there. That was not green last time. We had a lot of yellow spots. Let's go to high voltage system. Ooh, check it out, dude. Look at pyro fuse. She's green. We got all green lights.
Dude.
Let me see. It says contactors are closed. So right now, if you pull the jump box off, the truck should stay on and we don't need the jump pack anymore. So here, let me go take the jump box off.
Oh,
Still on.
the lights just came on.
All right. Right now, my phone that you're recording on is the key. So I guess just keep it in here. The trunk is open. Let's say ignore and continue to drive.
That's further than we got before.
Ooh, I don't know though. We do have low voltage electrical system issue detected. I don't know what that's about. Let me see. Charge cable is unplugged. Oh, it's just giving me a lot of issues here. Unable to shift out of park because the vehicle has detected a loss of redundancy. Out of park, the vehicle may suddenly lose electrical power, steering, propulsion, and may be unable to apply the parking brake. It may be possible to recover the system by performing a vehicle power cycle, exit the vehicle, close all doors. We only have half the doors. Re-enter the vehicle and then attempt to drive. An override is available for low speed maneuvering to position the vehicle for roadside support. Be ready to apply the brake pedal. Should we hit accept override?
100%.
I'm kind of scared. I don't know what it's gonna do.
Just cover the brake.
I'm on the brake. It's not letting me do it. Dang, there's something else going on. Probably something with the low voltage. It says low voltage battery disconnected. Exiting and re-entering the vehicle may restore function. Will it drive now? Yeah, we're gonna have to look into that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have a couple problems here. We're in the mid voltage battery section on service mode, and it does not see the mid voltage battery at all. It doesn't see the voltage, it doesn't see the current, state of charge, MOSFET status unavailable. It says we have a red light here, left domain, power supply compromised, right domain, backup compromised. Don't know what those mean. So yeah, the next step's probably gonna be to check out that 48 volt battery, because we have some low voltage issues there. Just like the other Teslas, they won't drive unless that low voltage battery is properly charged up and connected to the vehicle. But we did make a ton of progress so far. The pyros are fixed. The truck is now supporting itself on the main battery, which is awesome. But yeah, now we just gotta figure out that low voltage issue, and hopefully that will solve it and let it drive. Well, this is another thing that I was worried about. You guys look right here, we got the low voltage battery, or mid voltage battery, if that's what you want to call it, because this is a 48 volt battery instead of the 16 volt on the other models. New to the CyberTruck, but if we go ahead and take our multimeter, on the positive and negative here, you can look down there and we only got 2.5 volts coming out of that puppy, which is not ideal. So we went ahead and unplugged it. Another side note, this plug is pretty chintzy. If you barely lift up on this back here, it slides apart, and these little springs, see these guys right here, these will fall out, and you'll have to find them. I'm already missing one of the 3 springs, so luckily I got the other 2, but be careful about this plug because that comes apart really easily. But anyways, I think our low voltage battery is definitely toast from sitting. I'm not an expert on how the MOSFETs and stuff work, because I was almost thinking like, what if the MOSFET being open isn't allowing that current to come back out as well? But either way, the battery is not communicating to the truck. So there's definitely something going on there. And with our experience with the other Teslas, I'm assuming that guy has gone bad. So we're gonna go ahead and zip this guy out here for the time being, do a little research, see if there's anything we can do with this one, because I have a feeling that if we have to track one of these suckers down specific for a CyberTruck, we might be waiting on one for a while. So that's where we're at. Pyros are fixed, the truck is supporting itself, made pretty good progress, but now I think we have an issue with this guy right here. And another thing to note is when we put the multimeter to the plug directly, it's kind of tucked down in there, but we are getting 38 volts going out from the plug. So it is trying to put voltage back to the battery, but with the battery being so dead, I'm assuming it doesn't even register that it's there. And without the battery talking to the truck, it has no way of opening or closing up that MOSFET to allow current to flow one way or the other. So that is our issue at the moment. All right, so it's been a couple days since we messed with the CyberTruck. We're trying to figure out what to do about this 48 volt battery. I have some friends that order parts in for their Teslas that they've worked on in the past. I reached out to one of them and we tried to order a battery for the CyberTruck, and when it came up, it said that these batteries were on back order, which was a little concerning to us. So that's saying that we can't just order one straight from Tesla, so we weren't really sure about what to do there. But today, I actually ended up dropping off the Model X for some service at Tesla. That will be coming up in a later video that I will talk about, because we've been waiting on tearing that thing apart before we get started on Platycee version 2 for some reasons. But I brought it over to Tesla. They were able to bring it in, and while I was over there, I asked if they had any CyberTruck batteries available, and they actually did. And if you guys look right over here, we got ourselves a brand new unit. She's hiding in the back, and we can show you the difference here. We got the voltmeter pulled up, so once again, this guy, if you look back over there, that one's only 2.5 volts. And then we got the new unit, and this one is at 42 volts, 41, somewhere right around there. A lot more than 2.5. So we're gonna go ahead and plug this one in. All right, new battery going in. And also, just to clarify from earlier, I was talking about the MOSFET that's in these, just to simplify it. It's basically just an electric switch that will allow this current to pass in and out through the battery. They're basically like little smart batteries, so. All right, clip that back on. All right, she's in. By the way, after taxes, that little battery was a little over $400 for anyone wondering. So, pricey little sucker. But it was awesome that Tesla had one in stock. I was really worried that that was gonna set us back a long time, but you know, we were able to get one pretty much right away. I just walked in and they happened to have them, so that was awesome. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm seeing a lot less, oh no, there they go. There they go. Pretty sure we're gonna have to reconfigure that battery real quick. So we'll have to go back into service mode. Yeah, it still says low voltage electrical system detected. I don't know if I had this warning before. It says learn new battery, which we just put that in there, so I'm assuming we're gonna need to click on that, learn new battery. Oh yeah, it says right here, low voltage battery replacement detected. Learn new battery. Run. Oh, she learned her. Oh, look, there we go. It's reading now. MOSFET closed. She's lit up green.
You know what to do. Oh, well.
It's in drive.
Try to inch it forward.
It says proceed with, oh.
Took it out.
Dang it. Dude, the whole screen turned red. It did release the locks though. It didn't do that before. I mean, it might let it go just for a split second. Oh, it moves. It does move. All right, we'll put it back in park. Okay, we got proceed with caution. She's freaking out. But it did move.
It moves.
Which we did not. That's a huge step. Now at least we don't have to push it in and out with the lawnmower.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got some more stuff to look into, but the CyberTruck does move, which is an awesome sign. All right, we're gonna close the front. We're gonna try that again. It did move, but we're gonna see if we can actually back it all the way out of the shop here. So we got that same warning, but we're just hitting accept override. From what I gathered, this is if you need to maneuver the truck around after it does have an issue, you need to at least like pull it off the road, maneuver it a little bit to get it onto a tow truck or back it out of a parking space somewhere to get it transported. That's where this comes in useful. So we're gonna go ahead and hit accept override, put her into reverse and try to back it out of the shop.
Let's go.
Going. It's still going. It's not kicking me out.
Launch it.
The screen's just freaking out. Just says proceed with caution, critical steering issue detected. Got this red flashing going on. It's kind of scary, honestly, but it's good. I'm sure it's speed limited. Oh yeah, it doesn't. That's all it has.
That's full.
This is floored. Yeah, this is as fast as I can go. My foot is to the floor. This is all she has.
There's a walking pace.
I don't know who said these things are fast. Yeah, it limits it to 4 miles an hour. She's still freaking out a little bit, but the CyberTruck is driving. I probably didn't seem too excited because also I was a little worried with the screen just going red and everything. But it drives. It only goes 4 miles an hour. So there's some more things that we're gonna have to figure out though. But hey, we got her moving. Got the pyros fixed. Got that 48-volt battery fixed. Ton of progress. And I'm just happy to see it moving. That is awesome. We don't gotta use the tractor to pull it in anymore. What do you think, Wyatt?
Well, it's a truck with wheels and electricity, and it does things now. Sick.
It's funny, as off camera, Wyatt was in here checking it out. He's like, you know, it's pretty cool.
Nah, it is pretty sick. It's different.
He's coming around.
I'm not saying I would never spend my money on one, but since Kyle did,
Well, Wyatt
I will
Watts.
probably drive it.
Wyatt Watts kind of likes it.
It is dope in its own respect, but also not.
I changed the interior lighting to Monster Energy green, dude. Look at this.
Dang, dude.
Pretty sick.
I don't think you can put a whole sheet of drywall on the back of this to punch through. That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't think you could fit a... No, you could. You can.
4x8
They designed the bed to fit 4x8 sheets of material.
Wow.
We'll take it to Home Depot. We'll go get some drywall on this thing in the next video. All right, guys, this is a moment we've been waiting for. The wiper hasn't worked ever since we had these low voltage issues with that 48-volt battery. I'm thinking she's gonna work, and I really wanna see this giant wiper sweep the windshield here. Oh, dude, that thing is going so fast. Dude, for how big that wiper is.
I think it's moving. All right, hit the sprayer.
Oh.
It looks like it has a little vein across the whole front of it, so it evenly disperses the fluid all the way up the blade here.
That's pretty
Kind of cool. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the CyberTruck. We had a lot to do, so it's probably going to be a pretty long video. Hope you guys found it interesting. And we still have a lot to do to get this thing fully back up and operational. We got to find out why it is in this 4 mile an hour limp mode and kind of go from there. But I think we have done plenty in this episode, so hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe if you want to follow along our progress on the CyberTruck here. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you later.